welcome to episode 3 of the Underrated Voices Talk Show. We hope you're as ready as we are. Of course, you know it's Angie.
And your girl Nene.
And we have our special guest, Miss Inez Cooke.
Yay.
Yay! She is an author of Nourish to Flourish, Your 30-Day Journey to Emotional Wellness. She's also an RN. She's also a professor. She's also an emotional life coach. And she is going to share with us exactly what, and you all of us, exactly what she has going on. She's doing beautiful things. And of course, you all know it's still March, so it's still Women's History Month. So, Miss Inez, how are you?
I am well. I'm well. Thank you. And thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. And we want to say that we are so delighted to have you here. And congratulations on your journey called life. And we appreciate all the things that you're doing for women, but for people, around the board. So let's start out with the book because I just love the title of the book. And that's the truth. And it has a guideline. A lot of times you have books and they give you ideas of what you should do and tell you all of these things and about self, and everything doesn't work for everyone, but it's a journal and it gives you an opportunity to be you, but also to become a better you and to get rid of a lot of baggage, known baggage and unknown baggage. So we'd like to know what inspired you to jump out here and write this book and share it with the world.
Absolutely. So, as you mentioned, this is Women's History Month, and I'm so thankful. And this is a perfect opportunity to share. As women, we wear many hats. Sometimes we don't even have time to take off one hat before we have to put on another one. Sometimes hats become interchangeable. And no matter what happens in life, I found that I always had to arise to the next occasion. Sometimes I didn't have time to process what was happening. Sometimes you just don't have the vernacular, and sometimes you just don't even have the time. Most of the times we have people that are depending on us, our children, spouses, loved ones, family, our jobs. As you mentioned earlier, I was a nurse. So as a nurse, in order to perform my job well and safe, when I go to work, I have to make sure that whatever I'm dealing with personally, it has to go in my pocket. I have to leave it in the car until work is over. But 9 times out of 10, by the time I leave the job, I've encountered something that's probably been so life-altering or stressful. But then by the time I get home, I need to leave that at the job and then try and deal with what I have going on at home. Raising 3 children, being married, I was a young parent. So there are a lot of things that, there's things that come with that. Sometimes you have to put everyone and everything else before yourself.
Right.
In the profession of nursing, you are always caring for people. And very often you have to care for people and you don't really get to express how you feel, because how you feel really doesn't count at that moment when somebody else's life is on the line. And so then when we come home and we have that same scenario that we have to take care of our children, sometimes what we're going through really doesn't count at that moment, and we just kind of just go on to the next thing. Well, about 3 years ago, almost 4 years ago, I had a life-altering event take place. And during that time that I was recovering, which was about, instead of 6 weeks, it was 5 months. And I believe that was strategically designed by God to give me a chance to sit down and be still and really get an opportunity to do some introspection, to really think about what it was that I was doing with my life and, just looking over my life and just reflecting. And I realized at that moment when I was healing that what if I never got back to the status that I was? What if I couldn't go back to work as a nurse? What if my roles at home changed permanently? What if I never fully recovered? What would I do with all the time, with all the energy, with everything that I had invested? With all the times that I really felt a certain way and I never said anything, how could I go back and change any of those things now? What could I do? And so it kind of started me on a journey where I began to kind of go inside and just think about my life. Was I really happy with where I was? And if things were going to change indefinitely for me, how did I feel about that? What did I do with the time that had been given to me? Had I been fair to myself? Had I ever even addressed what I felt? And the answer to most of those questions was no. And I thought, okay, if this is my life, if I live to be 100 years old, I'm almost at the halfway mark. What's going to be behind the beginning and the end? What is that dash going to stand for? And I realized at that moment that I didn't even talk about what I really felt. There were so many times that I never got to express what I felt. Did I want that for my life? Was that really fair? And why didn't I do it? And so as I began to, just reflect and go back and just look at different scenarios and think about how I really felt about life, think about my emotions, what I wanted to do, what I didn't want to do, what are some things that I was going to change once my recovery was over. And so that kind of set me on a journey that I had to actually go way back. I'm talking about to childhood back and start looking at what I felt and how my unexpressed emotions was connected to my present life. In addition to how did my unexpressed emotions contribute to my success or failures in life? And what was I going to do about it? And so I began this journey. So I began to pray. And of course, God began to, show me and lead me to places in my life that needed healing. And once that healing took place, and I was able to write down and sometimes even record, but express what I was going through, it kind of gave birth to Nourish to Flourish. All of the exercises in this book were things that I literally had to go through. It was like a self-discovery. And that's something that we don't do. And I just thought, why should I live a full life and never discover me? Never discover what I feel. Like, I'm okay with taking care of other people. I'm okay with putting people first sometimes, but I needed to show up for myself. And I did not know how to show up for myself. So this process taught me how to show up for me. And it seemed like once I was able to express all of those emotions, some were good, some were not so good. Some of them were very heavy emotions, but once I was able to express them, deal with them, look at them, feel them, validate them, and then let them go, it made room. It made room for joy. It made room for a future. It made room for new dreams, goals, visions. It made room for me to be able to then live my life. And so I knew that if I had experienced this, that there were so many other women that were experiencing it. And it seemed like once I wrote the book and went through the process, it was like I started identifying people, like people would just walk up to me and just start talking about something that I had just gone through, an exercise or something. And so I knew then that this thing was bigger than me. I knew that there was purpose in what I had experienced. And so all of the trauma that we often don't even deal with, all of the pain, all of the things that we had gone through, every experience, every heartbreak, every disappointment, every betrayal, everything, every good thing, not even just the bad things, but everything that I had experienced had brought me to my now. And I knew at that moment my life was getting ready to change, and it was going to change for the better. And so I was prompted to write the book. And, that was a leap of faith, because one thing that I found in this journey is the negative emotion that gives rise to every other negative emotion that we have is fear.
Yes.
Fear. So I had to push past the fear, and I had to just go for my healing. I had to go for what it was. I had to push past what other people thought, what other people, felt about me. I had to just go to a place I had never gone before. I already knew what was behind me. But if I made up my mind to change what was in front of me, then I would be able to see something totally new. And so I made it my life journey to press forward, to heal. Out of that, develop the emotional wellness coaching, in addition to Women in Purpose, which is my nonprofit and my for-profit that I coach, write, speak, and help women live their life on purpose. And that purpose stands for being, having a positive mindset, having unwavering faith, having relationships that are mutually beneficial, being proactive about their life, ongoing achievements and accomplishments, self-care, self-awareness, and making sure that they were emotionally, physically, and spiritually sound. And so that's where I'm at now, and
Right.
the best place that I could have ever imagined being. So, so thank you.
Beautifully said. Beautifully said. And you summed up the book, the nursing aspect of it, because I'm sure a lot of healing took place just within that moment, breaking the barriers of fear and releasing so many things. And it's just amazing. I think one thing that I experienced that a lot of other people experienced as well is not knowing the difference between something that's embarrassing and it being a testimony. So not knowing that what you went through can help someone else, because it's so shameful to tell this story. And the journey that I'm on now, what God was showing me, or is showing me, is what that go forward without hurt, shame, guilt, or condemnation means, because so many of us are raised to push things to the side, or whatever happens in this home stays in this home, or you don't need any help, or you don't need anybody to talk to anybody telling you about you. And we have this fear of the things that we've heard, or, well, if I tell this story, it's going to include that person that doesn't want me to involve them in the story, and I don't know how to tell the story without telling them, and I don't know who to talk to, and I thought this person was a friend, or that person was a friend, or I've been through marriage and I've been through divorce. Well, I don't even get along with my own sibling. What am I supposed to do? And it's this rat race of deception going on in your mind that keeps you from breaking loose to become that person that God called you to be before you were formed in your mother's womb. So it's beautiful to be able to give people a guideline, because sometimes we can give great advice. We can talk, we can meet somebody, we can say everything. And then, like you said, we put that situation right there at the forefront, and we push ourselves to the side again for a moment. Like with me, I used to find myself saying, well, God, I'm the go-to person for everybody. Who am I going to go to? I mean, I know I can go to you, but I want to be able to talk to a human, or, and just something to where I can release. So it's beautiful to have it, because a lot of times, a lot of people don't know a starting point. You can have so many ideas, the jack of all trades and master of none. Well, I can write a book, I can do a movie, I'm going to do a journal. Well, what can I do? I'm going to read this scripture, and everywhere. And people really want to heal. And the fact of the matter is that hurt people hurt people. So many people are walking around with hurt and with baggage and with fear and not knowing where to go. And then it even elevates and escalates, and it becomes paranoia, and then you are off, and it's like, well, why is that person so rude, or that person so mean? And I know I just had to learn, well, you don't know what that person has going on. Just like they don't know what you have going on. Think about those questions that you're asking God, or what's happening. So it's a beautiful thing. It brings a balance between being a leader and just being a human, and having self-identity, because we can be trained into anything, but no one can train you or teach you how to be you.
Absolutely. And the key to it is what I found. So often we may want a thing, but a lot of times we look outside of ourselves for that thing. Even with our helping, sometimes we may have a need, but we'll go address that need with somebody else, like you mentioned, before we take care of it ourselves. Sometimes it's really tough to deal with ourselves. The hardest thing in the world is to look yourself square in the face and deal with self, because some of the things that you discover may be things that you didn't even know, and you may not even want to know. And it's really tough when you have to look at that. But if you are committed to having a life-changing experience, you have to look, like Michael Jackson said, at the man in the mirror. Exactly. And that means you have to go deep within. And sometimes some people, they stop the process, they abort the process before they can look, because it's so easy to not see ourselves. It takes really a lot of courage And it takes a lot of strength to really see yourself and then humbly go to God. But when you come to that point where you can really see yourself and humbly go before God, that's when he takes it, and in an instant, what you've been trying to do forever, it's done in a second. He just needed us to be humble enough to come and to realize that this is something bigger than ourselves. And that's what helped me push past that barrier, the self-reflection. And the way it happened by me not having the ability to even get up. I mean, I'm talking about 5 months recovery, like laying on my back for most of the 5 months, and I couldn't go anywhere. And so, and it was just so much pain. I was in constant pain. And so, just reflecting on that pain, my mind would try to go to a place to escape the pain. And when I did that, I would go, inside. And as I went inside and I began to just look and reflect on things, it was almost as if, as I was releasing the things that were on the inside that shouldn't have been on the inside, the pain got better. And so this became like a daily thing. So a lot of times we're carrying around pain, we're carrying around hurt, we're carrying around fear. Fear manifests itself in so many ways that we don't even know. Fear,
oh man,
oh
yes.
It manifests as, jealousy. Fear can manifest as anxiety. Fear manifests in so many ways. We think it's something else, but really at the bottom is fear. And so I had to, come to the realization of what was the cause of the fear and address that cause. And, and it didn't happen overnight, because usually we don't want to stay in any place that's uncomfortable for too long. That's just the bottom line. And so sometimes if it doesn't go really quickly like we want, we tend to just say, you know what, well, enough of this. But I say to anyone who's willing and who desires for their life to change, because it's never too late. Never too late for your life to change. You're only one decision away from changing your life for the rest of your life. And I'm telling you not because of what I heard, because I've read a lot of good books, I've had coaching, I've done a lot of things, but until I did the work, until I made the decision, it didn't change. And so we can pray, we can read scripture, we can do everything, but even when we pray and read scripture, we have to believe. Listen, Abraham told Sarah, God told Sarah and Abraham that he was going to give them their own child, and they didn't believe it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And then one day, when he called Abraham out of the tent and told him to look up in the sky, after he spoke to him that day, the Bible says that then Abraham believed. Sarah didn't even believe. She laughed at the angels. Abraham believed. Sometimes it takes one person in your camp to believe.
Absolutely. Yes.
The blessing and what is to be released for you will come. And so sometimes we have to just believe. I think we sometimes do a lot of thinking we have to do so much, because we're in a society that tells us we have to do. You have to do, you have to do, you have to do. You have to do. Sometimes we just have to be. And that's something that we have not learned to do, is just to be. And so that means to be happy with me, to be at peace with myself, to be free from others' opinions of me, to be free to love, to be free to forgive, to be free to ask for forgiveness, to be free to receive the healing,
right?
Free, because healing and forgiveness, to be free to forgive, that's for me. Forgiveness is not for the other person. The forgiveness is for me. And so we have to just be. We have to be willing sometimes to be these things that we talk about, that we see. It's like we fixing something up and we just, keep putting all the ingredients together, but we never bake the cake. It's time to bake the cake.
Absolutely.
To bake the cake. I refuse to live bound by anything that has kept me bound. And I just got up and I just decided, you know what? I'm going to make a decision. And sometimes that meant that some of my relationships had to be renegotiated. Some things had to change. There were some responsibilities that I had to put down. I had to learn how to say no and be okay with it and not feel guilty about it. Right. Sometimes I had to be okay with being misunderstood, not having to explain myself. Sometimes I just had to be at peace with, oh, well, they didn't get it or they thought whatever of me. That's okay. I can live with that. I'll just have to live with it, and so be it. And so sometimes you just have to make the decision. You have to draw the line in the sand, and you have to set boundaries, and you have to say, this is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm going to stick with. This is my end goal, and I'm not going to stop until I get to my goal. And the other part of this is the emotional intelligence that you develop once you begin to heal those emotional wounds. And when you can develop emotional intelligence, which is different from our IQ. Our IQ tells us our intellect. And you can have the highest IQ in the world and be emotionally immature, and you won't have a successful life. But if you learn to mature emotionally and increase your emotional intelligence, then even if you don't have a high intellect, even if you don't have $1 million bank account, even if you don't even have a degree, you will have a fruitful, productive, and successful life because of your ability to control your emotions. So that that is the key, learning how, to be in touch with and to be in, to be in control of our emotions. And that doesn't mean that we deny what we feel, but we talk about it. We learn new tactics. Sometimes, my biggest thing now is sometimes if I get frustrated, I might say to somebody, you know what, I'm frustrated, but I can't talk about this right now. I'm going to come back and talk about this at another time when I have, some better words or a better way to communicate what I'm feeling, and just walk away, because I know that I could get frustrated and just be done with it. But that's not the answer either. And we're quick to write people off. That's a very immature way to deal with things. You have to deal with things. How can you lead if you can't even lead in your own self, in your own emotions? And if we look around, we see so many leaders that act out of what they feel. They act out of their emotions. They don't make sound decisions, And so even parents, and I've done that, even as a parent, get frustrated. You just say whatever. But, for my own well-being, for my own peace of mind. And I'm telling you, the moment that you begin to change the way you do business with yourself, you'll begin to see that things around you will change. And you'll start to see things gravitate towards you that are supposed to be there, because without us knowing, we block sometimes our blessings by what we're dealing with on the inside. I want my blessing to be able to locate me. So if I got some junk in here,
I heard that.
from finding me, then listen, let me get this junk out so that when the blessing shows up and I come by, it's like, hey, this got your name on it. Okay, that's for me. I don't want to block myself, and I want to be at peace. If nothing else that we've learned over this last year, life is not guaranteed to anyone. And let me tell you, I don't care who it is. I don't care what they've done. I choose to forgive. I try to look at the bigger picture. And when people are really ugly, I say, if they're displaying that to me, then they feel 10 times worse on the inside. And I ask God to let me feel compassion and mercy for them, and that's a game changer. Because then I could just be at peace, pray for them and keep moving on.
Right.
Let God do the rest. I can't do anything with that. I'm not even going to frustrate myself. And I'm very picky with my time now. These birthdays keep coming around, and I'm so thankful. But the more they come around,
Right.
protective of your time you become. So I'm like, am I going to spend my time enjoying myself, enjoying life, learning and living, trying new things, not living in fear, expressing how I feel about my loved ones, being free, because holding that stuff in, it just bogs you down. Am I going to spend my time doing that and enjoying life, or am I going to spend it another way, being frustrated and holding on to other people's garbage? I don't think so.
Right.
I choose freedom. And so this is a good place to be. I enjoy, sharing the journey with others. I believe, and I know for a fact that this is part of my purpose, to share with other women, to encourage them. I'll tell anyone, delayed is not denied. As long as you have a breath in your body, as long as you're on this side of the land of the living, there's hope for every situation that you have. And even if you don't have the answer right at that moment, you can find it. And all you have to do is put one foot in front of the other and take your time with it. Life is not about failures. It's about opportunities and experiences. That's what those things were, lessons that we've learned, So that's my approach, and I'm sticking to it. And that's just the way I choose to live every day, every single day. And I'm telling you, the things and the experiences that have happened, even you mentioned being a professor. There was a time that, sometimes you're so bogged down, you don't even want to deal with people, But when the healing came, when the baggage was gone, I could see myself doing that. And I had the education. I just didn't want to be bothered. The pain just is so deep. You don't want to be bothered. I'm like, forget that. Listen, God gave me a gift of intellect. And then he gave me a skill and put me in a field, and he gave me experience from labor and delivery to geriatrics. Like, he didn't give me this just to sit here. Let me contribute to society in some way. We're in a crisis where nurses are suffering. Many have died. And God has given me the knowledge and the wisdom that I need, because I didn't just operate or just function based on my book knowledge. The Holy Spirit was my guide. So, there's some extra tidbits that I got. And so he wants us to learn how to impart those things into other people. So why would I deny sharing my gift that I didn't even give myself with someone else?
Absolutely.
How selfish is that,
Yeah.
So I'm like, look, and the moment I said yes, the moment that I agreed and said yes, I can't tell you the blessings. I can't tell you like, literally, heaven and earth move on your behalf, and things respond to you walking in the alignment that God called you. Sometimes we're suffering in things because we're not in alignment. We're not doing what he wants us to do.
That's absolutely true.
We think smaller. Our minds are finite, and God's mind is infinite. And
Right.
sometimes we're just afraid to be all that he called us to be. I tell anybody, this is the season to turn your light on and let it shine bright. Let it shine bright enough that for the people that it disturbed, that it turns something on in them. Let
Right.
light shine. I'm not putting it out for anybody. I'm sorry. And that's just it. That's just it. And go for it. And if the dream if it doesn't scare you, if it's not big enough to frighten you or make you think, how in the world can I do it? Then guess what? It's from you. It's got to be big enough that it doesn't even seem possible. You got
Right.
to dream the impossible. And that's just how I live, like, just every day. Just
That's
I
right.
have to live that way. I've wasted enough years. I can't change people. I can't change how they feel. There's certain circumstances I can't do anything about. The only thing I can control is my response to that. And so that's what I choose to focus on. What is my response going to be? And how can I make my response be something that's going to be beneficial to me? And so that means I have to make sure that I am well. And am I perfect? Is life always a bowl of cherries? No, I'm human. We have life. But even when the trials come, I choose to see them as stepping stones. I choose to see them in a different way. And when I change my perspective, it changes everything. I was praying one day, and I remember God saying, when your heart changes, your mind will change. When your mind changes, your thoughts will change. When your thoughts change, your words will change. When your words change, your perspective, your life will change. When your thoughts change, your perspective changes. When your perspective changes, then your words will change. And when you speak new words out of your mouth, your life will change. Change is good. And so it has to start all the way in the inside. And it has to change inside, and then it changes the outside. A lot of times our life is the way it is because we're the way we are. I choose differently. And so I encourage everyone to choose life. Choose it more abundantly. Forgive every day. Try to find the best in people, no matter what the situation looks like, and live your life to the fullest. Be all that you can be. Let your light shine even on the darkest days. Sometimes you got to let the light be on for you.
Right.
Sometimes you got to let the light be on for you. And every day, just look at it as a gift. Every day is a gift, and be all that you can be. And the more you bless others, the more that you can cheer for others, the more that you can encourage others. I'm telling you, the more your life gets better. And so that's just how I choose to live, just free in love, unconditionally. Unconditionally. The Bible, there's only two things in it that it can atone for sin. One is the blood of the Lamb, and one is love. It covers a multitude of sin. That's powerful. That's powerful. And so when you can walk in that place of love, listen, I don't worry about anything. I go to sleep before my head can hit the pillow. And then, if I do get up at 3:30, I'm up, hey, what's going on? But other than that, live life with no regrets. Live life.
Very, very beautiful.
That's beautiful.
Very beautiful. And what I love the most is the encouraging words, and for women, especially with us just happening to be African American women.
Yes.
So many times there is hatred. So many times there is envy. So many times there is, I have this information and I know it and I can't even do anything with it because of where I am, but I don't want to share. And I don't want to help anyone else build, and not even wanting to, help someone else help me, staying in that same place. And I think throughout this journey of us starting the show, we've had all women, including ourselves, and it's all been motivational, and it's all been talking about how we should come together and how to help the next one. And every single episode thus far has led back to scripture, being able to line it up with scripture. And of course, we don't know everybody's spiritual or religious walk or anything like that, and not trying to force that on them. Just, hey, this is what works for me.
Right.
I didn't do it myself.
Right.
And I acknowledge I didn't do it myself. And hey, I may still even have some residue. I am where I am now, but I'm not where I want to be. But this is how I got here, and I can share that with you. I can't share what such and so did, but I can share with you what I went through, and I can share with you what God gave me to give to you. And now I'm operating in my purpose, and I'm being blessed the more and the more because I'm not holding on to it. I'm giving you this to operate in your purpose, as opposed to giving you something to operate in your blessing, as opposed to giving you something to operate in your curse. And then there we are doing exactly what we're supposed to do, which is win souls to Christ.
Absolutely.
And it seems so complicated when you're going through things. And a lot of times people, I have haters. They just hate and this, that, and the other. But what you said was so profound. The way that I interpret it in layman's terms is sometimes we're our biggest haters. Our own self, so it's like you think everybody else is doing all of these different things because of how you actually feel,
right?
And that is how you're receiving it. So absolutely beautiful. I mean, you've helped a lot even within this show, within this segment, and you still have a lot more to say and a lot more women to help. It's not like, oh my God, here somebody is again. Well, how you gonna tell me what to think or such? It's like, I'm engaged. Like, wait a minute, I'm on the show. I got to say something. But actually, really,
to God be the glory. I'm just being obedient. To God's glory. I'm just being obedient and just sharing what I've experienced. And those people that respond that way, with that hatred and that bitterness, they're hurt. They're broken. Yes. Think about women. Think about what we really go through as women. First of all, most women are violated before their 10th birthday. Before their 10th birthday. And this is something that we carry in a secret inside for years. For years, sometimes not ever expressing it, and then other times not even knowing how to express it. But that does something to your spirit.
It does.
Mm-hmm. No, they have experienced something like that. And there's never been a platform or a place to talk about that, to get that healing. It's always been, shh, be quiet. The moment the enemy comes for you and violates you and tells you what? Shh, don't tell anybody. Mm-hmm. That is the very moment that you take that foul thing that they do, and now that thing is festering and growing inside of you. Exactly. And you expect people to be walking around okay? No, it's not okay. And so we haven't talked about that a lot. We're talking about it more, especially with the pandemic. Mental wellness is on the front, lines, but even in that, there's still a lot that's not being addressed. Like, you've got money to study like mice in a lab. You've got more money to study mice in a lab than you do to provide mental health, know? And so, how do you think you're going to have healthy families and healthy children if when you give birth, you're not healthy yourself? And these are deep things. And we pass our trauma on from generation to generation.
Very true.
So until we begin to deal with those traumatic places in our lives and cut those cycles off, we will continue to see this. And so it just takes one person.
One person, yes.
And that's where the fear comes back in too.
Yes. Just change the trajectory. You are so surprised how one person can just begin to change things for a nation. One person, and you just have to be committed to it. And sometimes it's not a comfortable place. Sometimes it's a very lonely place. Sometimes, you feel like, I don't even want to do this. But I'm telling you, if we just stay the course and if we commit to doing it, everything that you need to fulfill your purpose in this earth realm, in this lifetime, will accommodate you. It will find you and it will line up for you. So I just, encourage all women, there's somebody somewhere. Like there's a lot of what you say there is. And it is sad. It really is sad. And some of the stories that you hear, I'm just like, it makes you almost feel like, feeling sorry for yourself. And you're looking at this person and they've gone through even worse. But the better things that I like to see is when somebody's had a bad story and you see their success. You see winning. You see them winning. Those are the ones that give me strength.
Me too. Absolutely.
Like those are the ones that make me like say, you know what? You better get it together. You gotta find whatever you need, get it together. Find the strength from inside. If you don't have it, ask God to give it to you. But those are the ones that help me keep going. And so, my prayer is that we will begin to have these conversations more and more, and we can begin to have the healing, and we can begin to see these generational traumas stop being passed down, and that we can just begin to talk about it. Because believe me, just talking and releasing things changes a whole lot. It's a game changer. And so now, no more secrets. No more. You don't have to suffer in silence anymore. And it's sad that we created a society that shunned people and made you feel bad. Listen, you can't make me feel bad. You can't make me feel bad about anything. Like there is no shame and no condemnation that no one walking this earth can ever make me feel bad about. I don't have to explain myself. I may be misunderstood. I'm okay. I don't even have to be right all the time. It's like, okay, and with no ill feelings or anything, but it's just like, it's okay, because that's not something that I can control. Let me use my energy on something that I actually can control, that I actually can do something with. Let me use this in a productive way that can help myself and help somebody else and find that peace, So that's my story, but I'm sticking to it.
Beautiful. I think that, I don't think that's not the truth. I know that at some point in life we should reconvene, just on the show and give people an opportunity to come back and talk about those things. I think Violation would be a good show, or even if it's not a show, just something that's put together for people to be able to express that, because it's more people than not. It went more women than not. And that's a lot of women's starting point. That's a lot of going all the way back and rooting these things up. And speaking of that, I want you to tell people where they can get in touch with you where they can get in touch with you for life coaching, for the book, for whatever they may need to, whatever God puts on their spirit or your spirit that you offer. Let them know where to come to you, because some may just want to come to you directly, and not, hey, let me wait until she's on the show. But it's a lot of people that need some right now things.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So the book, can you see it? It's called Nourish to Flourish, Your 30-Day Journey to Emotional Wellness. So this you can find on Amazon. It's available on Amazon. It's available via hard copy or either via ebook, Kindle. And also my Women in Purpose website is www.womenandpurpose.com. You can also find me on Facebook at Inez Davis Cooke. And you can also find me on Instagram at I am Inez Cooke. I think if I didn't change it, no, I am Inez Cooke. But you can find me on Instagram, and you can message me. You can send me messages or anything like that. I'm actually having my website revamped. Because I've got some good surprises that I would love to come back and share in the near future. I don't want to say anything now because sometimes you got to keep things under the covers until they're
Yes.
So I've got something really, really great that's going to be hopefully in the next no longer than 3 weeks. I'm hoping it'll be available, and that's going to be something really, really awesome. But in the meantime, you can reach me via online and I'm also on LinkedIn as Inez Cooke as well. And so LinkedIn, you can message me on LinkedIn. You can message me on Instagram at I am Inez Cooke. Also on Instagram, you can message me at Women and Purpose. So you can always send me a DM. You can reach me by my business line, which is 813-688-0599. And those are the ways that you can get to me right now. And I look forward to being able to come back and have that conversation, and also to share, the next good thing that I have coming up that I think is going to be good to connect women and for us to stay connected. But I've got to keep it under the covers until it's ready. But I definitely would love to come here and share that with you and share that with your audience. But feel free to message me. Email me on the website. You'll see an email address. Just get in touch with me, connect. I'm hoping in the next few weeks to maybe do some group coaching. It depends on, the interest and how many people we have, maybe a webinar or something. But I think that we are at a place where we need to start having conversations. And so we need to
Absolutely. And you are more than welcome. You're more than welcome here. We're there at the webinar.
Thank you.
You're there,
Thank
right?
you.
We're there. We got a group already. When two or more are joined, God is in the midst. But it's also
it happens. But I'm so proud of you guys and what you guys are doing. I mean, I just really love this, and I like the fact that you just did it. You didn't delay. You guys just put it together. You guys got a lot of good things going on. So yeah, a dynamic duo over there. So I'm really proud of what you guys are doing, and I know that people are going to be able to benefit and appreciate, and really, get help, get connected, and just really be impacted in a positive way. It's time. Like I say, if it's only one person, I don't care what everybody else over there is doing. Like, if it's not necessarily positive, that's okay, because eventually the good stuff can rub off on you too. But in the meantime, I got to stay focused right here so that I can build this, so that eventually this can do something with that, or this can attract something that will begin to change that. Sometimes you just got to keep building and building until it just catches on. And that's just where we are. That's the season we're in right now. This is our season to build. So put our hands to the plow, to the hammer, to the nails, to the board, to the whatever. If we build in this season, we will see that it will be very beneficial, not just for us, but for others too. And it's just time to walk in your purpose. You've walked in everything else.
Yeah, walk in it.
Right. That's good that you said that too. I'm sorry to cut you
off.
No,
you're fine. You're fine.
That was good. That's good that you said. I know that's noticed that you said purpose.
Yes.
Multiple times, and you found your purpose. And I think me and Angie, we found our purpose as well. And that's exactly what we're trying to do. Make sure we get the word out to everybody, because everybody needs healing. And it doesn't matter how old you are. It doesn't matter exactly when you start. As long as you get the healing and release whatever it is that is holding you back, then you will be able to walk into your purpose.
Absolutely.
So that's beautiful.
Absolutely.
Very beautiful. Yes. And we want to thank you again. I'm overjoyed. I'm delighted. I'm thankful.
I am too. I enjoyed this conversation, right?
Yes.
Thank
and
you.
We got the book. We got ladies. Get the book. I want to say ladies and gentlemen because I never want to exclude the gentlemen, but I am gearing more towards the ladies right now, so I can't lie. So ladies, get the book. It's absolutely important to do so. Stay tuned. Go to all of the platforms that she gave you. Be at the webinar. You have to show up for your own healing. This is not just to support somebody else. This is not, oh, she's trying to do this, trying to do that. Show up. Let's go through healing. It's a new season. It's a new dispensation. It's a new time in life. We're all coming out of a pandemic. There's no way you can't say, oh, I wasn't in the pandemic. That's humanly impossible. The whole world was there.
Absolutely.
So it's time to come out. Support, 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 support. Sow your seeds on good soil. It's important. And there's nothing wrong with supporting your own healing. It's time to do that. And then instead of being any way that you are uncomfortable with, or you feel like, oh my God, I got to get rid of that, let's learn to love on each other. You know what? You look beautiful today. You look beautiful today.
You look beautiful today.
Thank you.
You're
smart.
You're very beautiful today.
Absolutely. You guys are beautiful. Exactly.
Yes.
We need more of that anyway.
Let's do that and not be fake about it.
Right.
Not be fake. Let's be real. Let's build each other up. The world is rebuilding. And guess what? We can be part of that.
Absolutely.
Seeds are being planted now. It's coming back from the ground up. This is your time to get in where you fit in.
Right.
Get your portion. Everybody was created for purpose. You can't say, you know what? I don't know. Maybe I wasn't created for purpose. Impossible.
Absolutely.
You went through a pandemic. That's a proven fact. You were created for a purpose. That's a proven fact. You can operate in your purpose. That's a proven fact.
Absolutely.
Let's do it. Let's help each other. If you say, oh, well, I don't have the money to do this and that, guess what? Whatever our purpose is, we're going to operate in it. It's bartering systems. You don't always have to have money in order for what you have to be priceless.
Absolutely.
So it's time for us to come together. It's time for us to support. It's time for us to do what we need to do, not what we need to do, what we have to do, what we're supposed to do. Because if you don't do it and you don't get there, you're hindering yourself, and we're going to do it regardless. I mean,
right.
We're going forward. So,
it's happening.
It's
going to happen.
It's going to happen. We're going to be on the bus. We're not going to get ran over. So join us. We love you. We honestly love you. God is love. Yes. We love you. We're not taking that away. We're not going to block our own blessings. We're not going to block anybody else's blessings. We want to see you blessed. And there's enough to go around. What God has for me is for me. What God has for you is for you. And if God is with you, who can be against you? It's time to build. It's time to grow. I want to thank you again. You did absolutely beautiful. You shared so much that's priceless. No amount of money could ever pay for. I'm telling you, guys, please absorb the information. This is not just because we don't have anything else to do. We have 1,000 things to do.
Right.
We're mothers. We work jobs. We do things. Like when we finish, we have something else to do. But we want to operate in our purpose. And we want you to see not the beauty so much as in us, but that beauty that's in you. We really want you to see it. And a lot of things that are discussed, we have been through those things. So you don't understand, and such as 9 times out of 10 we do.
I will understand.
Yes. So I'm gonna close out. Do you have anything you want to say?
No, not really. I just want to thank you again for being on the show. What you said, your conversation, it was very beautiful. And I'm looking forward to having you back on the show. And I'm looking forward to the webinar and the good news that you're wanting to share with us in hopefully 3 weeks. I am ready for it already.
I can't wait. Me too. I can't wait. Thank you all for thinking enough of me and for inviting me, for giving me the opportunity to share. And I'm excited. Like I said, I'm thankful for what you guys are doing. I'm just, this is just the time. And we are definitely in the place that we need to be. And one thing that you said that was so important, people have to show up for themselves. You have to show up for yourself. We show up for jobs. We've showed up for school. We've showed up for other people. In this season, it's time to show up for yourself.
Yep.
And sometimes that may look like something you've never seen before. That means that sometimes other people have to listen. In this season, Sometimes you're gonna have to move people from a VIP section to a regular seat.
To the back seat.
Exactly. To the line outside.
And that's okay.
Yes.
And we got to be okay with it. Sometimes it doesn't happen because we're like, what? Like, it's not okay in us. We got to put on our big girl pants on, and we got to be obedient, and we got to move, and we got to learn how to make decisions and learn how to do things like that and be okay with it. And the one thing I've learned is no is an acceptable answer.
Yes, without an explanation.
Say no.
Yeah. Yes.
So you got to show up for you. It's time to show up for you. One thing I always say, the airline always had it right. They used to tell you when you're traveling with a child, if something happens and the oxygen mask comes down, if you're traveling with a small child, put the oxygen mask on yourself first and take care of the child. Because if you don't put the oxygen mask on you, you can't show up for anybody else. And even the people you're showing up for, you're only halfway showing up. You just don't know it.
Yes.
Until you start that, you just won't even know it. So put the oxygen mask on yourself first before you put it on anyone else. And that's where we are. Thank you, ladies.
Well, keep doing what you are doing. Thank you. Keep doing what you are doing.
Keep doing what you're doing.
And some of you stop doing what you're doing and do something different.
Right.
So make sure you jump on the bandwagon. We want to thank you for joining the Underrated Voices Talk Show. We want to thank you for joining Miss Inez Cooke's public speaking and ministry and everything else that she gave tonight.
Right.
Don't just get it from one night. I'm telling you, it's hot off the press. Keep going. Get the book. We're not just telling you to get the book. We got the book. Go get the book. It's on Amazon. It's easy to find. You don't even have to type in the title. You can just type in Inez Cooke. It pops right up. Go get it. Please don't be left behind. Underrated Voices Talk Show. I'm Angie.
And I'm your girl, Nene.
And again, we have Miss Inez Cooke, and we are signing off. We love you guys. For real. We love you. See you soon.